Hey everybody, welcome to episode 68. Today it's finally, I can do the prequel episode. I guess this is going to be a review, because I actually made notes. So it's actually, I went through it, I just listened to the album while I was working here, and I jotted down some notes, and I had to type them up because I can't read my own writing. But so I'm going to be referring to these quite often so I don't forget everything, because there's a lot that I think I have to say about this album, and I could probably do the same thing and go back and do Imperia as well, or the Infestimus, whatever the hell that album's called. I heard it pronounced, somebody pronouncing it sound right, and I'm like, I still can't pronounce that. I don't know, my mouth just doesn't want to make those noises. Infestimus, anyways, I have a problem with pronouncing a lot of the stuff that's on these albums too. But don't worry, I'll just butcher it like I normally do. Yeah, so like I said, I wanted to wear the t-shirt for this one because I wanted to be that guy. Don't be that guy. I'm being that guy. Obviously I got the album came over the weekend, so we're not going to do an unboxing dealio. This is just the cover. I got it in a sleeve. But there's the back of the album. It's got the tracks and stuff. Got some more artwork on it. The first thing I want to say about this album, and by the shirt, by the album, and of course by something else that comes with it, which is really cool, by the way. I love it. This is what I miss about records, is it comes with a poster. I think it's an 18 by 24. I'm pretty sure. I didn't measure it, but it looks like 18 by 24 poster of the album cover, which is cool. However, this album cover is growing on me, and so is some of the other ones, but for some reason, I don't know why, but when I first started discovering these albums, this cover just rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's the way the guy's drawn on the cover. Now that I get it in hand, I can see the detail, which I don't think I could see before, which is pretty cool. Maybe it's the brown. I just don't like the brown. I don't know. Maybe the brown and the gray, like brown and grayish silver together, just kind of rubbed me the wrong. I don't know. Maybe I don't like that. I don't know. Something about the cover. But the thing that kind of irritated me a little bit was when I did see this, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then I thought, why didn't they put a poster in all of them? Or why didn't they put a poster in the new one that has a really cool, that 3D model, that silvery one, the Phantomime. It's like, well, that would have been really cool. But instead they put the poster in the one that was my least favorite. And I'm not saying it kind of, what this reminds me of, now that I'm looking at it, what this really reminds me of, I should pull up an image, but just look it up, is Ronnie James Dio had an album called Lock Up the Wolves, and I hated the cover. I loved Holy Diver, I loved Last in Line, but then when it came to Lock Up the Wolves, I was just like, ugh. I remember being down at a clothing store in downtown Royal Oak, and they had somebody held it up to me. This is back like in high school, and said, hey, they got a Dio shirt. And I looked over and I said, which one is it? And they hold it up, and I go, oh, it's Lock Up the Wolves. It was like it was like a Cinderella's Attic, or whatever that place was called, like a vintage resale shop for hipsters. And well, they weren't really hipsters back then, but they were definitely gothic-y, kind of punky, kind of. It's Royal Oak. Yeah, so I think this is really cool. I would like to see more of this, but again, some of the albums that I really like. I got this album all taken apart here too, so you can see. Here's the inside sleeve, which of course I keep separated now, and it has it's got a bunch of writing in it about stuff. I'm sure it tells a story. It's got Dance Macabre. Maybe it's about this. Maybe it's got writings on these songs. I'll probably read it at some point. I haven't read it yet. I didn't realize that until now I looked at it. I thought it was just the lyrics, but now that I see it, it's not just the lyrics, I don't think. And they got the credits and stuff in here, which is cool. But then they have this image on the back. Now, I gotta say one thing. I don't know which version. Where is he? I can't get my finger on. There he goes. I don't know which version this is of the Papa character. But this was my least favorite version of him. I don't know, I just don't like the mask. He should either just do the makeup and not worry about the prosthetics, and just use his regular face. I don't like the mask. Just looks weird. And even on the newer one, it just looks odd. Like the eye, it looks almost like the eyes are in the wrong place or something, or something's just not right about the face. And but I like that one. I think it was from the Meloria album, or Melioria, or however you pronounce that, which I still need to get, which is next on the list, by the way. He looks the coolest. It looks evil in that one. Right? This one, he just looks kind of odd. But of course, he's supposed to be like this other character. This is the Papa, or he's got another. I can't remember. I watched. If you go on the Ghost YouTube channel, there's like this. I only watched part 2, so I got to go back and watch part 1. But they had like this fake documentary kind of thing, which was like, it was more like a story, like a made up. It was like fiction, but they kind of, they just embellish on things. They talk about like the band Ghost, came about in 1969, and then was, frozen. It's all part of their story, which I don't know all of it. I watched the part 2 episode. I think I fell asleep listening to it, so I probably missed the end of it. But it talks more about like that. So if you haven't heard that, go and listen to that or watch those or whatever. I got to finish doing it myself and kind of go through that. But yeah, here was the inside sleeve. Like I said, I keep the inside sleeve. I'll put this back together as we're talking here. I keep the inside sleeve separate. I don't put it back in the outer jacket, and I don't put the record back in. I just slip it behind there just like that. And then I'll put this poster. Yeah, I'll put the poster in now. I don't know how. I don't want to make creases. I don't think it'd be a problem. I don't know if I'm going to hang up. I might hang up the poster maybe. It also comes with, of course, the record, which I put into an anti-static sleeve. But as you can see, this is the whatever that is, that like marbled translucent kind of look to it, which I think is really cool. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this in like a couple of last videos, but the best thing about these cool looking records is you can't see how dirty they are. So it's like sometimes you put that black record on there and just like it's got all these marks. I got to take the microfiber brush and clean them off. There's probably dust on these, but you don't notice it. And being it's a brand new album, it doesn't skip and doesn't make. I haven't scratched it yet, much I hopefully won't. Hope I don't scratch any of my new albums, but I'm pretty meticulous with them, so I'll probably keep them from being scratched. But yeah, so then I slipped that. Like I said, I don't know if I went over my method of storing my album. Actually, I want to do sideways. That way the opening is on the side, and then it prevents more dust from getting in there to prevent that exact problem I was talking about. And then I just leave it behind there like that. So, and I always stack them, sideways, never stack them down. So you're getting, it'll hopefully prevent ring wear. It'll keep everything perfect. This, I don't know if I'm going to keep it in the back of it because it came with it. But this, I don't have any single sleeves, and speaking of singles, I did, definitely did listen to both sides of this a couple of times. I gotta say, the Kiss the Go-Goat song, kind of, not a huge fan of it. That's okay. The Mariana Cross, actually, I didn't like it at first. I liked it at first, but then I just thought, like, it reminded me too much of a couple of things that just kind of irked me. I won't get into those. But they reminded me of somebody, and they reminded me of just a bunch of things just popped up in my head when I listened to this song, and for some reason, kind of got on my nerves. But now that I've listened to it a few times, and I actually last night I spent a little time learning it all on bass. So you have to tune this up. Yeah, you tune it up a half step. Tune your bass up a half step. I believe. Yeah. Half step up. Where's the half step down? Can't remember. Without it in front of me, I just can't remember what it was. Yeah, because the first, it's tuned like that right now. I'm just trying to think. So if you hit the open A, you're actually hitting the G sharp minor, or G sharp. So that would be down. Yeah, you're tuning it a step down because the A would be an A, and then you tune it half step down would be G sharp, A flat. Okay. Sorry. Sometimes my brain doesn't work. So anyways, but like I said, I love the art on the cover. I love having the single. Again, I need to get single sleeves, outer sleeves and inner sleeves. And see, I'm already putting sweaty fingerprints. No, I'm not sweating. It's not even hot in here. But anyways, putting sweaty fingerprints all over this black jacket. And then I'm not going to pull it all the way out, but they put it in this inner sleeve. It's not totally an anti-static, but it's pretty much an anti-static. And that's kind of nice that they put it in there. That was a nice little... They said you just drop it in there. It's not a fancy... It's not colored or anything. It's just a black disc. But it also, again, just like the other one, though, I'll pull it out a little bit. It has that full, just the little hole as opposed to the giant 45 hole. I wonder why that... I probably knew at one point, but I wonder why that was. Why they had, and you have to have the adapter. I wonder why that was, but maybe somebody knows. They can tell me. Oh, you know what I was going to go grab was a comic book that I did back in the 2000s. So I did this first. Nanner Boo Snot. But anyways, the back of the first issue, I was all black like this in the head. It wasn't an upside down cross like their symbol. It was a cross, but it was real ornate looking. And I designed like this cross because there's this character in there called Mother Midnight who's kind of writing his own interpretation of the Bible, and which actually leads me into the best thing about Ghost I found is they give me such a Venture Brothers vibe. If you remember the Venture Brothers show, it's very Venture Brothers because like even Tobias Forge, when I see him in the interviews, he reminds me a lot of Doc Hammer, one of the creators of Venture Brothers. They have a very similar something going on. Maybe just because they're both really skinny little guys. I don't know. They just Doc Hammer and Tobias Forge just seem like they're brothers. And of course, our Captain Cooley, we were really all into Venture Brothers at the time. So Captain Cooley and Kid Delight was very, very Venture Brothers. I should get the albums. Or I should pause this in a minute and go get it just so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to do that right now. So give me just a sec. All right, went and grabbed it. I got a box of them out in one shelf. So there was our comic, Captain Cooley and Kid Delight, and like I said, it's very Venture Brothers because we were really, really into Venture Brothers at the time when we made this. Like I said, in the 2000s. This is when I was in college, there's my back cover. So it just seemed very. When I saw that, I was just like going, "Wow, it's the Captain Cooley cover." What am I doing here? All right, Captain Cooley cover. There's this like I said, there's this scene in the comic where the guy's writing his own Bible. It's basically the Bible according to Midnight, to Mother Midnight, which is the main bad guy in it. Yeah, so it reminds me a lot of this, and which is cool. It also has a very. Ghost has a sense of humor. And I don't feel like, even when people think they're taking themselves very seriously, clearly Tobias has a sense of humor, and it kind of bleeds over. It's very lighthearted. There's a lot of, like, just stuff that, like, I picked up on that I really like. And like I said, that's kind of how we approached doing that kind of. That's kind of how I approach everything I do, is I always have a sense of humor about things and kind of, I'm never serious. Even when I'm being serious, I'm still, even if I'm really angry or really, as you can tell while watching my videos, I try to, use humor, some levity to lighten the mood even for myself. So that's it. I'm keeping it in there for now, but that's not where I want to normally put it. I like to put all my singles together. Although the single case is not exactly the exact same size, which kind of drives me crazy. I wish it was. I get weird and obsessive compulsive like that. So, I've listened to the album a few times before I got the vinyl, and now I've listened to it a few times on vinyl, and it's a good album, and it's definitely the artwork starting to kind of, I'm starting to warm up to it a little bit, but, so before I get into my little review here, I just wanted to show you, like I said, I don't know if I show you this, I printed out the discography from Wikipedia, and I keep highlighting them off as I get it. So I really only have 2 more of these studio albums left to get, and I'm going to get into my rant. I don't know if I got into it in the other video, but I'm going to get into my rant concerning the opus eponymous here in just a sec. I've got Pope Star and If You Have Ghost EPs to get. Again, I don't know why they put 7 Inches of Satanic Panic as one of the EPs, but whatever. And then there's Ceremony and Devotion, which is the live album, which is the, I call it the Live After Death album, because it just reminds me of Live After Death. Just, I mean, the album doesn't, but just a live album and a live album of this. I think they recorded it in San Francisco. I think Iron Maiden did Live After Death in San Francisco? No, San Diego? I can't remember where they're... Long Beach, California. Where is that? Is that in that's in, what's that place called? Los Angeles? Long Beach? Like I said, so, and I believe that's everything that I can get. I mean, like I said, supposedly there's a Hunter's Moon single, and supposedly there's a Dance Macabre single, but I think those are only self-released, or they're UK only, so they're kind of hard to get. Not that I'm shying away from imports, but they're just expensive, and I don't want to pay for them. I'd rather find them cheaper. So I got that. Let me just click you over here real quick, because I'm going to go to my YouTube music here anyways. I got that set up right? Yeah, okay. So here's my Ghost vinyl and my wish lists on Amazon. So yeah, I've got Ceremony and Devotion left. I've got Pope Star. I've got Meloria. I'm probably like I said, every Friday I order myself a shirt and the album it goes with, if I can get that combination. So far I have, but the Meloria, or however you pronounce it, that's probably going to be this Friday's one. I'll talk more about the artwork and stuff on that one. And Pope. The thing is, Pope Star. These 3 albums look very similar, very similar compositional designs, which I find kind of weird. I like it when they do some more. I love the Nosferatu version of this, EP. But this album, god damn it, it's pissed me off. Didn't I tell you? Remember I said I'm going to wait. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm just going to wait until that Friday, which is this last Friday it passed. And I'll get up early in the morning because I get up and do my work, and I was like, I'll just grab it then. I'm sure it's not going to sell out. None of the other albums had sold out. And then, sure as shit, see what happens when you snooze, you lose. It's sold out. Like, I woke up, it's already sold out, and it's like, see more buying options. What's like, of course, because all the scalpers got a hold of it. Now what do they want? $34, $50. That's essentially $40. It's like, come on. Seriously. That really pisses me off. Yeah, I mean, just to even if it was going to be $29, okay, I'll pay $5 extra for it. But now I got to pay another $5 for shipping because it's not part of it. It's like, god damn you people. So sorry, I'm going to get into a rant here, or I'm already in a rant. But that really pissed me off. I'm like, are you serious? Is it that freaking popular? Is that hard? I mean, I know they're really popular, but is this? Apparently there are. Apparently everybody who's sitting on it. I should have. What do you call it? Pre-ordered, which is also kind of freaking me out now. Maybe I should pre-order that Gunship album, because maybe that's gonna blow that Friday when it comes out. But that really aggravated me. And of course now I go on Discogs, and everybody wants fucking $1 million for it on Discogs. It's like, come on, seriously. And you can barely get it in any other place. It's like, I don't understand. Here's the thing. Obviously it's out because somebody has it and they're selling it. And obviously they probably wouldn't have put it on there. But did it ever... Was the pre-order thing just bullshit? Meaning if I did pre-order, would I have gotten an email saying your pre-order's been canceled because it's no longer available or something like that? I mean, it was literally available for pre-order that evening at like 11 o'clock at night, Thursday night, and I didn't pre-order it. So, like I said, I'm a little angry about that one. And then, of course, I don't know when this actually sold out, but when I noticed that was sold out, that's when I noticed that If You Want Ghosts is sold out. Now, it was the same price. My record store, the Electric Kitsch, unless he sold it, which he probably did, they have a copy of that, and I may pick it up this Saturday, maybe, just before it goes. But I'm not really... The songs that I don't really care so much about. I can't even remember what's on it, to tell you the truth. It's their first EP, you know, right after, I think it's right after the second album, I believe. But anyways, yeah, I think so. I got it. It's on the notes over there. But anyways, so that kind of really ticked me off. I don't know. Yeah, enough on that. So let's go back to the album here. So I pulled this up on my YouTube Music. Again, I'm not going to play any of these. I'm not playing any of these songs in it just because, you know, I'm not monetized right now because I've just got 90 people now. I don't even have 100 yet. But you know, I just want to prevent it from, you know, from getting whatever flagged. I figure I'm going to stay off the radar. Well, I want to be on the radar of people, but off of YouTube's, you know, shit list for a while until I can pick up some steam on this channel. So I'm going to avoid making. I made a few mistakes with the videos and stuff that I've played already, and so kind of watching what I do, walking on broken glass through this initial stage here of putting this channel together. But okay, so this is my official review, I guess. So spoilers, spoilers for an album. Can't hear the album. How is it a spoiler? I guess I'm spoiling it because I'm telling you. I'm not actually. You know what? Here's the thing. None of my review has really anything to do with the lyrics for the most part. I mentioned a couple of little things here and there, but for the most part, I don't really care about the lyrics. And here's the thing. I was watching some like pastors and stuff talk about, you know, pastor reacts to Ghost. And I was listening to like some fans that were old school fans because they're OG fans and now they hate the new, you know. And then I hear people trying to give their interpretations of the meanings of the words and stuff. I gotta say, I am not a literary connoisseur, and I'm not that smart of a guy. So I can't, and this goes for all the music, since I was a kid. I don't really care what the music's about, right? All the Iron Maiden songs and stuff, or all the Ozzy songs, or all the Yes is a good example of songs like, what is he talking about? I don't care what it's about. You know, I don't, half the time I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. It's just like people come up with these, like, you know, these interpret, well, this is what he means, but this is how, like, the Bible gets interpreted weird, or any type of book like that. You know, it's, you know, people say stuff and it's like, is that what it's about? I don't know, is it? It sounds like that's what it's about, but I don't know. Unless I ask the person who wrote it, like Tobias, or, you know, they won't, I'm not going to know what it's about. And, you know, even people like I was watching an interview with Chris Squire, and he's talking about Yes music, and he's like, you know, I don't even think John Anderson knew what he was writing about. Because it sounds like just like a bunch of words just thrown at you that sound cool, you know, that kind of push people's buttons, you know. Let's use every version of the word of the devil, you know, in these, or, you know, it's all, I'm pretty sure, and even if it isn't, who cares? But I'm pretty sure this is, like I said, because I see their sense of humor. It's a big shtick, right? Just like Kiss had their shtick, you know, the Knights in Satan's Service. You know, Gene Simmons is an asshole, but I mean, outside of that, you know, Paul Stanley seems to be an asshole, but outside of that, I don't know how evil they were. You know, Blue Oyster Cult, you know, I quote the words of Blue Oyster Cult. If they really think I'm the devil, or they really think we're the devil, well, let's send them to hell. So, you know, they think Blue Oyster Cult is evil. You know, Iron Maiden's evil. 666, Number of the Beast. You know, all this stuff. You know, Black Sabbath. You know, that's the weird thing about Black Sabbath as a kid, though, and even looking back at it now, I always thought like the first few Black Sabbath albums, I really did feel like that was evil music. I mean, I love it, but I mean, it did really give me this weird, like, I don't know about this feeling. You know, the Ozzy stuff, which I thought was super evil back when I was, you know, I was young, and, you know, when it was coming out and stuff. But now I look back and it's like Mr. Crowley, it's really stupid. I mean, I love the song, I love the music, but it's really dumb when you think about it. You put any kind of, like, thought to it, you're like, this is really silly. And the same thing with this stuff. I listen to his lyrics and stuff, and some of the stuff that seems like it's, people are like, oh God, he just mentioned the devil and Mephistopheles, and that's how all the stuff that they hear these people talk about, it just seems silly to me. It seems dumb. I mean, the problem is, here's my thing. If the Antichrist is going to come, right? If the Book of Revelations is true, I highly doubt that Tobias Forge is the Antichrist. And I highly doubt that, I think people nowadays, and I'm not even talking like back in the 40s and 50s or the turn of the century, like when the Bible was written. I don't think people today, especially in America, I don't know about the rest of the world, but especially in America, there's way too many cynics out there that don't believe in anything. And they don't believe, they're like, come on, seriously? Right? So I don't think it would work. I don't think the Revelations, the whole Antichrist thing would work unless there's some kind of something that happens that changes everybody's mind. And maybe that's what's going to, I don't know. I personally, remember, my religious views are I'm apathetic agnostic. I question not only the existence of the devil, I question the existence of God. I question the existence of anything outside of, whatever. I still think that we're worm food when we're dead. We're not going anywhere. But I don't know for certain. And I can't say for certain. I can't say I'm a devout atheist because I can't say for certain. I don't know. And ask me 5 different times of the week, and I'm going to give you probably 5 different answers. I'm like, I don't know. Today I'm feeling kind of religious. Something happened, or maybe one time I just get irritated at everything and I'm just in a mood. Maybe I'm bipolar. I get in a mood about something and suddenly it's just like, I don't believe in any of that shit. And some days I might be like, oh no, So like I said, I'm a nut, so don't listen to me when it comes to this stuff. I'm the last person you want to listen to about any of this stuff. That's why I don't talk about politics and I don't talk about religion, because I'm kind of a nut, so don't listen to me. But yeah, so let's get into the album. I got a few rants in there. I even circled them rants, because I'm going to rant a little bit. But let's get into it. So, like I said, I'm not going to play the album, but I'm just going to, obviously, I'm going to point to the tracks. It's their, what did I say? It was their fourth? Yes, their fourth studio album. In 2018, so it's pre-pandemic. Think about that, because I think somebody pointed out in the one video, the documentary, they're talking about, is it a coincidence that it came out, it's about the plague, and and then it came out right about the time that before the pandemic. Seriously, yes. Why does everybody abducted by aliens when Steven Spielberg comes out with an alien movie, meaning Close Encounters? Why is it? It's just coincidence. But anyways, what was I saying? But yeah, okay, so this is a concept album, and it's about the plague. Hence the rats. And that makes sense now. Now that I kind of get into the album stuff, it all makes sense. And also find that very Spinal Tap. If you know Spinal Tap, they're on top of the... on top of like a party on top of a building towards the end of the tour in Spinal Tap. And Derek Smalls says to David St. Hubbins, he says, they're talking about like, what, now that Spinal Tap's done the tour, what are we going to do? Nigel's not in the band, so we're going to start doing our solo projects, and Derek Smalls says, we could always, do our, that project we're talking about Jack the Ripper. You're a saucy one. Because you're a naughty one, saucy Jack. When I learned of this album, it's an album about the plague. I'm just thinking like, you're a naughty one, saucy Jack. It just made me think of that. This, like I said, the sense of humor. It's very Spinal Tap. It's very Venture Brothers. It's got a lot of. There's even some Flight of the Conchords in there too. It's got that vibe. It's funny. Which like I said, people, I don't think they take themselves seriously. I've listened to his crazy interview he did where he mealy-mouthed, this is Tobias Forge, where he mealy-mouthed, tried to explain his justification for the Satanism thing and all that stuff. It's just like, really, dude? It just sounded like a lot of exactly. Just a lot of mental gymnastics he was trying to go through to kind of convince to tell his point. Now, I've noticed that about him too. In the interviews where he's even talking about his music too, he's like me. He likes to talk, and sometimes I don't think he can get across what he's trying to say. I mean, he's a great musician. He's a great lyricist. You know, even I don't really care about the lyrics. He is a good lyricist. He writes some good stuff, but I don't think his interview or his, you know, put him on the spot, try to explain things. I don't think he does a very good job. You know, which it's either neither here nor there. You know, it doesn't really take anything away from the music, but I did notice that. So, okay, let's get back into this. So we got, what do I mean? I put these in order by, so let's just go through them line by line, track by track. So the first one, Ashes, which is the intro, I put sets the gothic, I'm going to read off this a lot, so forgive me. Sets the gothic horror mood, which it does. It's very heavily reliant on synthesizers. And the thing is, I'm not sure, but it almost seemed like it was sequenced, but it did have a nice stop to it. So it's probably played by hand, but it just seemed sequenced. It didn't seem humanly played. It seemed like a sequencer. I don't know if you know what a sequencer is, but a sequencer is essentially is program the notes and then it plays it in a sequence, right? And you can change the tempo and stuff on it. I think you can even change I remember my Korg Poly 800 had a really nice step synthesizer on it, and there was a function on it that I could remember. You could kind of move. You could set the tempo, sure, but you could move the notes, like move them around a little bit so they didn't sound so robotic. I didn't really mess with that much. I still wish I had that keyboard back. But so that's the opening when it kicks it off, and then of course it goes right into one of their singles, which is Rats. And of course, obviously, Rats are the bringer of the plague, or the spreader of the plague. Here's the thing. This is just me. I've never heard anybody say this so far, so maybe I'm just full of shit and I'm just making things up. But it sounds to me that the opening riff. At first, I was like, "Well, that sounds a lot like Crazy Train a little bit." And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Actually, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Round and Round by Rat, by the band, the heavy metal band from the 80s, Rat. You know, round and round, comes around, goes around, I'll tell you what. You know, it starts out on the street, that's where we meet. This video also kind of reminded me a little bit of that, too. But I wonder if it's kind of like since the song's called Rats, it was like a love letter or a homage to the band Rat. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you'd have to ask Tobias on that one. I don't know. But, yeah, so the other thing I was going to say about it, also, the video, too, it doesn't help. It also made me think of Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue, specifically the video. You know, because that kind of also has that, in the music, too, it kind of has that same vibe. Where, you know, they're all the Motley Crue, they got the torches and they show up. It kind of had that feel to it. Just what it made me think of. And that's the thing. My review isn't really review. I mean, I'll tell you if the stuff's good or bad, or in my opinion. But and more is this is the stuff that made me think of when I listened to it. And these are the thoughts that kind of pop up. So maybe it's not a review. Maybe it's just my goofy thoughts on the album. But yeah, so let's go back to Rats. So Rats is the single up there. It's good. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's kind of but I would. It's got a hook. It's definitely got a hook to it. Let's go into Faith, and not this song by George Michael. Which you would think at first I'm like, what is he covering? Faith? Because he covers everything. He covered that single. I won't pull it out again, but that single, one of the sides is a cover of Pet Shop Boys. The Sin, I think it's a sin. The song, you know, everything I do, whatever the song goes. It's a cover of that. It's a good cover, which also is kind of weird because sometimes I feel, and maybe it's just because I'm a music lover, and I don't, and like I said, remember the last video went off about genres. I don't care about genre, really. And I can listen to Iron Maiden and love it. I can listen to this band and love it. I could listen to Rat and love it. You know, I can listen to the Pet Shop Boys or Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode! Venture Brothers. He's in Depeche Mode! Anyways, I can listen to Depeche Mode. I can listen to the Smiths. I can listen to any of this music. If I like the music, I don't really care about the genre. I don't really care how, you know, it's, you know, these bands are different. You know, I'm not a huge fan of hip-hop. I like the older stuff, sort of, just because I'm nostalgic for that time period, like the Run DMC, the Fat Boys, that kind of stuff from the 80s. But I don't really necessarily like hip-hop. And there's a few songs here and there that I do like that come about. But overall, I don't really like it that much. And I also really don't like country, the newer country. I like the older country from, like, the 70s. You know, like, you know, with Kenny Rogers and, you know, that stuff, Eddie Rabbitt and stuff like that. But I'm really a big fan of that 90s forward young country feel. I just don't care for it for multiple reasons. But outside of those two, and like I said, I'm not a big jazz person, and I don't really care about the blues. I mean, like real blues, like real blues albums and stuff. People get like these monstrous collections of jazz and blue albums. It's like, do you really like all that music? I don't know. Like I said, this is just my opinion, but I was just looking at this guy, well, you know, on seeing these videos with records, and he's got a wall of, like, blues records, or, you know, the movie Ghost World, where Steve Buscemi, he's, like, really into, you know, like, old blues and stuff. It's just, like, really that into it? I mean, I really like progressive rock, and I like all that stuff, and, you know, even if I had the money, and I keep saying is my record collection's not going to get too much bigger, because there's only a finite amount of albums that I really care to own. But it's like, these people, it's like, I've got, you know, they've got like 10,000 blues albums. I didn't know there's 10,000 blues albums to begin with, let alone, it's like, do you like all of those? I just find it weird. But anyways, sorry, I got on a rant with it. Didn't even say rant, and I got on a rant. So yeah, let's go back to Faith. So, first of all, I kind of had like a very Halloween vibe. It kind of felt like Halloween because of the double guitars. But that's not just a Halloween thing. I mean, Iron Maiden, the double guitars, you know, triple guitars, if you can count Yannick Gears in there too. You know, they do kind of they follow each other, or they do kind of back and forth. The Judas Priest, I mean, obviously the two brothers, I mean, that's pretty much that's like the quintessential of that. Yeah, so the Halloween, I mean, Halloween's just following in that same principle. So I hear, like, as I know, obviously, you know, Halloween, Ghost has two guitar players. They do that same thing. So I guess it's got like this Halloween vibe for some reason right off the bat. And then, but the thing is, then when it goes to the bridge of the song, it's like, whoa, this totally sounds like, and I cannot remember what song. I'm not going to pull it up because it'll take forever trying to find it. But the Rush album Counterparts, I swear that the bridge in this song sounds so much like this bridge in Counterparts from Rush. And I can't remember what song it was. I know it's not Cold Fire, because that's their single. I don't think it's the Animate. Maybe it's the Animate song. Animate me. I think it is Animate, actually. Yeah, because it's very heavily, you can hear the bass in it, and it's like a dirty bass, and this has got a dirty bass in it too, so it has that kind of that feel to it. Maybe, I'm pretty sure it's Animate, but I might be wrong. Go listen to Counterparts and listen to this album, and come back and tell me what I was thinking. Does that make any sense? So anyways, where are we at? So yeah, I talked about the Rush. Yeah, I can't think of the song. But I'd say I just kind of made a note here. Just overall, it's very King Diamond. And I'm not saying that, you know, he's stealing King Diamond's shtick. You know, King Diamond sings a lot different. I'm not really a big fan of how King Diamond sings, with the, you know, real low and then the really high pitch, you know, pitch shifted voice. I like Abigail. That's probably my favorite King Diamond album, is Abigail, and I like that album. But I really couldn't get really hardcore into King Diamond. They also had just some of the iconography, or just some of the like the studio, or, you know, like the photo shoots and promotional stuff. It just has that very you know, King Diamond-y feel, where it's like this is like obviously this is shot in like some studio, or you know, some photography studio where they just use like a bunch of gels, and they use like a bunch of, you know, sheets and stuff, or different curtains and stuff, and they smoke it up with dry ice or a fog machine or whatever, and you know, and the character, you know, he's got like his costume on, and it's, you know, almost like you know what it really, now that I'm thinking about it, just it doesn't, none of the music sounds like it really, although it kind of does in some regard, but it also reminds me a lot of the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. I'll bring you, you know, I'm the god of hellfire, and I'll bring you fire. And he's got the flame thing on his head. I remember seeing that video as a kid, and it spooked me. I was like, what is that? And it was like, I think we saw that I saw that on MTV in like 1984 or something like that. I just saw that footage of that with the, you know, all black and white, and he's got the fire on top, and it's all trippy and everything. I was like, what the hell am I watching? I think my dad saw it too, and he just shook his head, and he's like, drugs. These guys are all on drugs. Anyways, so yeah, so where were we? So let's go into track 4 with See the Light. How are we doing on time? Oof. I have to speed things up a little bit here. Because I'm pretty much I'm only on track 4. Yeah, See the Light. Here's a rant coming up. I even put rant in here. And this rant probably won't make sense to anybody, but I'm going to go into rant anyways because it's going to get me all worked up. But it sounds like Linkin Park. I hate Linkin Park. I don't hate their music per se. I do. Remember I was talking about the douchebag? Whenever I see the videos, I just think douchebags. They just look like douchebags. They just look like people on a hit. Anyways, speaking of people want to hit, no, I can't say that. I don't want to hit this person, but it does get me it does bring my temper up. I think there's, no, sorry, the one person that I just want to hit. So I was dating this girl back in right before Linkin Park broke, and she dragged me. I probably talked about this before. She drugged me through all of the rage rock of like the 99, 2000, like all the Limp Bizkit concerts and Korn and all that. Slipknot. Actually, we didn't do Slipknot. Slipknot, I think, was a little bit later. But we had to do Korn and Limp Bizkit and all that stuff. And it's just like, I couldn't take that music. I was like, oh God, I hated being at the concert. I was just like, oh, these guys are all douchebags. And I don't like any of the douchebags at the concert either. Everything was just irritating me. And then she started getting into Linkin Park when they hit big, and it's just like, and then of course we broke up, and we had a kind of a nasty breakup. So you know, there's a lot of emotions involved there, and a lot of anger, and so that whenever I hear Linkin Park or I see them or even hear the name, it just instantly thinks of that. Now, also makes me think of this Chicky Poo that was at this party that I went to at this friend's house. And this is after the divorce, so I was still all keyed up about the breakup. So I was all keyed up about the breakup, and then I go to this party, and there's this chick there that I'm attracted to, but she's just all over Linkin Park, and I just felt like hitting her. So I just got really angry. Like I said, breakups will do some weird things to you, make you think really crazy stuff. You want to talk about Satanism and like black magic and chaos magic and stuff like that. For some reason, like after my breakup, I just got really heavily into like that stuff for like about 2 weeks. And I was just reading all this stuff about chaos magic and all this other stuff and all these like satanic things. I was just really angry is what it was. So I was just trying to find a reason to, like some kind of, something to kind of vent that through. And that's the thing, is I get that vibe from Tobias. It sounds like he had a pretty fucked up childhood with the family and his stepmom and his teachers. And it's obvious he has a really strong hatred towards the Catholic Church. And I could see that. So I think I can relate to what he's going through. I get, you know, a lot of things happen in my life that got me so pissed off, and I still have trouble letting go today. And yeah, obviously, you do weird things, and you get into weird things, and, you know, maybe that's the devil working on you. You know, maybe that's the whole thing. I don't know. I still think it's a bunch of bullshit. But anyways, what where are we at here? Let's go to Linkin Park. Linkin Park. God. Oh yeah, but the solo. Yeah, the solo is very Images and Words by Dream Theater. And there's a band. I don't dislike Dream Theater, but I had a buddy of mine, kind of like right about after like in like the 90s, he hit me with Dream Theater and the album Images and Words, and then I ended up buying Images and Words. That is the only Dream Theater album I like. I gotta say, the Dream Theater stuff after Images and Words just does nothing for me. And I like that album. I like Pull Me Under, I like Metropolis, and that's what, it kind of reminded me of this, the keyboard part, the keyboard solo, the kind of weird synthy sound. Yeah, I'm going to mention Dream Theater probably a couple more times because there's some Dream Theater things in these. So let's go to the next album. Let's go to what is it? My Asthma. Not your asthma, my asthma. No, my asthma. What is it? My asthma. I don't know how to pronounce it. The M song, track 5. Track 5. It's Dream Theater, but Dream Theater meets more of Vince DiCola, which I don't know if you know who Vince DiCola is. He did like the Rocky IV soundtrack, and he did the Transformers the movie, the '86 movie soundtrack. I love that soundtrack. Obviously, I've talked about that before, but and the thing is, Dream Theater actually sounds a lot. There's a lot of Vince DiCola on that Images and Words that I find, and this has it in it too. It also, this is what I felt like the song went from, in just like one stretch of music. It went from it went from like a Rush Subdivisions, with they kind of had that keyboard sound of Rush. The Subdivision goes a little Dream Theater-y, goes a little Vince DiCola-y, and then it finishes off. It just finishes off that with this ascending Manfred Mann, blinded by the light. You know that real high, bend at the end of Manfred Mann. That's what it sounds like. I was like, that's a weird cacophony. I mean, I guess I could see the Rush and the Dream Theater. I mean, that's all progressive music anyways. But then going to that Manfred Mann, just kind of that weird kind of bend at the end. But also, just like the double guitars, the nice thing in the song, and this is why it reminds me of Dream Theater, is they have a lot of bass, guitar, and keyboard all following each other, and I like that sound. I don't like it done to death. I think Dream Theater, I like that album, but even on Images and Words, they really do that to death, where it's just bass, keyboard, and guitar all follow each other like lightning fast. This isn't lightning fast. And that's the other thing I like. This is all the solos and all the stuff. There's not a lot of. There's some minor shredding here and there, but it's not just sweeps of shredding. I cannot stand that personally. Not a big fan of sweeping, shredding, all that stuff. I mean, it sounds cool and it's impressive, but it just sounds the same. It all sounds the same. It's just like, all right. It's like, are we going to listen? It's like, oh my God. It's like I used to love drum solos. I used to love solos in general. But anymore, if I hear a solo, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go take a piss or something. I just don't want to hear this. And then, of course, I can't get back from the bathroom in time. And then they start playing the song I like, which pissed me off, just like it did that Chicago concert. I wanted to hear 25, or what do you call it? Do. God damn it, I want to get back to there. I have to pee. I also did that at my sister. I went to the Thompson Twins, and I wanted to hear Doctor Doctor, and of course I had to pee so bad, and I went to go pee, and I didn't make it back by the time they played the end of Doctor Doctor. So yeah, so we got that. The other thing that they also had this other sound like the Beat It guitar solo too by Eddie Van Halen. It had that had a little bit of that in it, and then obviously this is the song where they do in the concert. Where they bring up the guy and they shock him back to life, the old Papa, and then he plays the saxophone solo because it finishes out with a saxophone solo. I don't know, for some reason, my son, of all bands my son picked up on, I mean 11, right? This is a weird band to pick up, Saxon. So when I thought of saxophone, I just thought of some heavy metal band, saxophone. special guest saxophone. It makes me think of that. Limousine. Sorry. He plays the sax. He's got band class now. He's in 6th grade and he's playing the saxophone. So I told him, I said, hey, a guy in Ghost plays the saxophone. Got to learn that saxophone solo. Of course, I'll learn it in 5 minutes. Okay, so that brings us to Dance Macabre, or however you pronounce it. Dance Macabre. Macabre. That song. I like the song. I love the song. I love the verse. And then when I watch the video, it's got the you can see it on. If you go to this and you click on it, you can watch the videos and stuff. You watch the video. It's like it's selling the story, and it so sets you up with this thing. Like you got these two douchebags that go to this party that they want to go. They want to go get drunk and get laid and stuff, and they're just trying to be like that douchey. Of course, the other guy's not as douchey, but the other guy's like an uber douche. So you got the super douche, and then you got the kind of douchey guy, and then they go to the this party, and then they're greeted by this guy with like makeup on, kind of like Scully, kind of like ghosty makeup, and he's got long hair. And this guy reminds me of like 5 different people that I've known. Some people are people I consider friends. Some people I can't stand. I can't stand a lot of people. But anyways, this guy just reminds me of that. I don't know, he just put me off. I put rant. So he put me off in this mood. And I was just like, oh, this guy's really rubbing me the wrong way. It's like, And you know what it made me think of? Of course, I got a story. It made me think of, when I was in college, I was dating this goth chick. And, like a Hot Topic goth chick. Because that's all pretty much in the 2000s. They're all a bunch of... This is kind of before the whole cyberpunk, the cyber goth thing. Or, dude, man, my girlfriend looks like a supervillain. I mean, it's before that. It's kind of, it was kind of like I guess it was... Whatever, I call it the Hot Topic goth, right? And she was a Hot Topic goth, and she took me to this party with a bunch of other Hot Topic goths, and it was this party that these guys go to just reminds me of that. It just has this. It just felt very. I don't know. I don't know who's more the douchebag. I don't like the 2 dudes that go to them. I feel more sympathy for them because they're just idiots. But the other people at the party, they just come off more douchier than the other douchebag. It's just a collection of douchebags. And like I said, when I went to this party with this girlfriend, and I go in there and there's all, they got like fog machine going, and they're all gothed out, and they're all like playing their goth music way too loud. And it's just like, there's a place called City Club too, downtown Detroit. I don't know if it's still there. There's also a goth dance club place, I don't know. That whole world, I don't know what it is. It feels so alien to me, not in like the normal sense, like I was like, oh, what are those weird people doing? Not like that. It just seem like these seem like people that might be have similar interests as me, or kind of like-minded people, but they just come off as so arrogant and standoffish and just douchebags. Girls too. I mean, douchebag is not a male only word. There's plenty of female douchebags, but it just comes off very douche. I got to come up with a better word. But it just has so much punch, that douchebag. La douche, if you want to be French. Anyways, it had this very douchey feeling when I was at this party. Like, I really hate these people. I just felt like hitting everybody. I'm a good thing that I'm really good at controlling my temper and anger. Because I just wanted to just beat the shit out of everybody at this party. And I feel like that too when you go to this, I see this video, it's just like, I'm having flashbacks. Like, I don't want to beat the hell out of these douchebags. Sorry. Focus, center, bring myself back down. My blood pressure's going up, I can feel it. Probably see my face is probably getting red and flush. Anyways, by the way, I just looked at myself in the camera here just because I like looking at myself. But anyways, one thing that my friend pointed out, and it's true, and this may be what I was thinking, is like, I want all these t-shirts, not only just because I want to be cool and be a douchebag, because I noticed, having a beard and having, I've grown my beard out for the last few years. I've cut it since then, but I mean, I've had a long beard for a while, ever since I got divorced, because once you get out of a divorce, the good sign a dude is not getting any sex is how long his beard is. But anyways, you dandruff, beard dandruff like crazy, right? And having some kind of image or kind of graphic that breaks up a black. I love black T-shirts because I want to look thin. I don't like any other thing but black T-shirts. But at the same time, an all black T-shirt, like you've seen I'm wearing in a lot of my videos, so it's going to have that light coming in. I've changed the lighting around a little bit, make it more warm and spooky. The beard dandruff is all over my shirt. So nice thing about the graphic tees is they break up some of that that beard dandruff look. Although this one is, I didn't wash this yet. I just put this on, and the thing is, I've washed some of my other shirts. This is a double extra large, right? And I gotta say, they gotta start making band T-shirts for old farts like me with the same technology they make golf shirts out. Bill Burr has this real long rant where he goes off on how fat fucks they all wear golf shirts because it doesn't matter what position you put yourself in, you always look good. You look like you're, you know, in great shape with these alien technology that they use for their golf shirts, right? They gotta start making, you know, band shirts, especially if they're older bands, which only a bunch of old farts are gonna like anyways. I gotta start making them with golf shirt technology because once you wash these, my God, I guess the answer is just lose some weight, right? Yeah, that's gonna happen. So let's get back to the album. Anyways, where are we at? Dream Theater? No, this isn't Dream Theater. This is Ghost, right? Yeah. Dance Macabre. So yeah, the whole vampire guy. The whole party. Sorry. But like I said, I love the verse. But the one thing in the video I do like is I really like the dancing. Here when I go from being ultra angry to ultra something else. But the girl in the video, not the main girl, but one of the dancer girls, that like mulatto kind of half black girl that's kind of to the girl in the front, and then she's to her left. She's she's taller than everybody too, and she's got like this big 80s hair and stuff. I don't know. She's really pushing my butt. I really like her. You know who she reminded me of at first? I was thinking to myself, if you watched my video, which you probably didn't because nobody knows what this video is, and by judging by the numbers, nobody's watched this video, is the X-Mutants comic, the indie comic, the X-Mutants. She reminded me of Erin. Now, Erin's not really, you know, has that mulatto look. She's more Caucasian, but she's got like the big brown 80s hair, and the girl in that video just kind of reminded me of her a little bit, and it's just like, ooh, I really like her. Really like her. So, yeah, so watch out for her if you see the video. The girl, one of the dancing girls. What else we got here? Dance Macabre. I mentioned the X-Mutants. Blah 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 blah. So the solo in this song, though, it's I put down it's very a weird combination of ELP and ABWH, which will make you think. So Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Anderson, Buford, Wakeman, how it has a very Keith Emerson / Rick Wakeman kind of feel to it. So I just put a little note for myself. ELP, ABWH. You can't give an IOU on a COD to the UPS. They'll call the FBI. Sorry, it's my Mrs. Roper joke from Three's Company. So yeah, it's a great song. I like it. It's a good single. Yeah, actually we're on track 7 here, so we're almost done. We're almost to an hour. Pro Memoria. It's not just Memoria, get a Memoria Pro. Sorry, that's what it reminded me of. It's this song. I gotta say, and I know my friend, and if he's watching this, he's gonna be going, "What are you talking about?" But I have a friend that would argue me tooth and nail on this, and he's totally wrong, and I'm totally right. Is this song? He sounds so John Wetton from Asia, from the Pro Memoria song. It sounds so much like John Wetton from Asia. I can't remember exactly what Asia's song off the top of my head. The smile left your eyes. The smile has left your eyes. It sounds like that song from Asia, which I think is off the Alpha album. I don't think it's off the first album. I know it's not off Astra because I was just listening to it on vinyl recently, and I don't have Astra, so I think it's off of Alpha. But except for this, his voice is very trebly and very high, much higher, and Wetton has a lower you know, he's a bigger guy too. So, you know, I mean, John Wetton's a bigger dude, so he has kind of a lower kind of voice. I mean, I'm a big guy, but I don't really have a low voice. But like Tobias has a very high voice, but he's also really. Have you ever seen him too? He's just really thin, like really wafy, small, like creepily so, in a weird kind of way. Like I said, I don't think he's the Antichrist. If he's the Antichrist, I think most of us could just beat the shit out of him. So, anyways, where are we at here? Asia, yeah. So, I have a note about his stature. But it also has a very big, like, chorally, big, kind of soundtracky sound. It sounds like, and you know what it really reminded me of? As I was listening, I'm like, what's this remind me of? It doesn't sound like it, but it just reminds me of it. It sounds like actual chorus, like a choir singing, but it sounds very mellotron-y. Like it would... Excuse me. Whew! Sorry. I started talking so fast I felt like I was going to throw up. That's weird. Like kind of like acid. I got acid reflux, so again, hell getting old. Acid reflux, high blood pressure. You know, welcome to my world. So anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so it sounded to me like it started to get, like I would use like a mellotron to do that voice sounding, you know, if you didn't have a choir. And then it goes from the mellotron-y thing, and then it slowly kind of goes into an organ sound. And if you know Yes, sounds just like Awaken. I mean, the song itself doesn't sound like Awaken. And it doesn't sound like he's like overly influenced by Awaken, but just the way that they went from that chorus-y sound into the organ sounds a lot like Awaken from Yes. But again, something else my friend's going to argue me. No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound like... Yes, it does. It sounds just like it. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but it's what it reminds me of. If it didn't remind me of it, I wouldn't have thought of it. That's the whole point. Sorry. Everybody's bothering me. Witch Image, which is track 8. What do I have here? Oh yeah, back to 80s metal, and it goes all over the place. And it does. I mean, it does start some back to like the 80s metal, and there's too many people to mention who it sounds like. It just seems like it goes all over the place in that one. When I saw the word Witch Image, I was thinking Witch Hunt by Rush off the B-side of Moving Pictures. It doesn't sound like that, but that's just what I was thinking. Now, track 9 is something with umlauts. Helva Tessfoster, Mrs. Tessmacher. Sorry. Otisberg, sorry. Sorry. My schizophrenia is popping out again. Anyways, I said, yeah, more Yes sounds. But you know what? It sounds like Yes, but it also goes into, I don't know if anybody's heard of Lorena McKennitt. And like that this is like super popular, like in like the 2000s, with like in the late 2000s or late 90s with Lorena McKennitt. Sounds very Lorena McKennitt-ish. I associate Lorena McKennitt with the smell of essential oils and the Renaissance Festival. But I had that vibe. I just like, well, this sounds a lot like Lorena McKennitt. That kind of like Celtic New Agey kind of music. So that makes sense. Although Celtic stuff is Celtic, because I don't know my history that well. Is Celtic that Celtic sound, which is Irish, right? Or whatever. It's Celtic. It's like its own thing. Is that around the time of like the plague with the rats? That doesn't seem like those two things coexist at the same time, but I don't know. So it would seem kind of a little out of place. I can understand the organs and very, Gothic-y sound, but it seems like the Celtic-y stuff seems different from that. I don't know. It seems like I should be attending more winter solstices and getting naked with a bunch of Wiccan women. So anyways, Life Eternal, track 10. So Life Eternal, what did I put down here? Oh yeah. I can't remember how the song goes. Life Eternal, he says, do something forever. And for some reason it popped in my head, and I was looking at like that image there you see of of the Papa there with like that bishopy outfit. I was thinking of the scene, and I would key it up if I knew how to edit and key up the scene. But I keep thinking of the whatever he's Cardinal Bishop Priest or whatever the hell he is in The Princess Bride when he's marrying Prince Humperdinck and Buttercup. He's like, marriage is what brings us together forever. That's thinking when he says something forever. I keep thinking to myself forever. That's what it reminds me of. So there we go. Marriage. Sorry, I'm going to be doing that for the rest of the day. And no matter what happens, I'm just going to go marriage. That boyfriend arrangement. Sorry. So the single, I think, did I cover the single? I think I did. I don't want to dig it out again. Anyways, yeah, you got the Pet Shop Boys cover, and then the other song, which I heard first, it's so meh that I didn't rewrite anything down because I could see why it's a single. And they call it, like, this is previous, it's previously unreleased, but it's like, it's released music. It's like, you just released it. How could it be unreleased? What do you call it? It's not just savage, it's more than savage. It's savage. So anyways, but yeah, it's supposed to be, I guess there's songs that they were going to put on the album but didn't put on the album. I don't know. I can't remember how they worded it in the description, but it's cool. It's cool. It came with it. I mean, that's neat. A little extra. That's always kind of a nice feature, especially when you're paying $30, $25-30 for an album. It's nice to get extra stuff. So I've gone the hour and 6 minutes to be precise. Gone through all my notes. I've gone through all the albums, right? Life Eternal and the single. Okay. So, Prequelle. Do I like it? Yes. Is it my favorite album by Ghost? No. Do I think Impera is a better album? Yes. I think so far my favorite album by them is probably Impera. However, I do like that second album, but I like the second album because it doesn't sound like the same album. It sounds different. And if you want to, these obviously this one, and I don't have Meliora yet, but this one and Impera sound a lot more poppy and upbeat, and I love that. And I love the 4-chord, what do you call it? They use a lot of the 4-chord, that Memphis, Memphis number system, 4-chord progressions. I like that. It's really hooky. But there's something about that second album that one actually has more of an evil vibe to it. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that dirtier, eviler, more like 70s sound as opposed to, and that one's even got 70s. That one's also got like a surf vibe to it coming from like the 60s too, which is also a weird juxtaposition. That's what I would say about this band. They're a juxtaposition, all right. Because if you're going from, whatever that is, if you're going from, Pet Shop Boys to freaking, Rat. Obviously you can tell he and the people who work on these albums, including probably the producer as well, they know their stuff. They've listened just like myself, I mean, Tobias is 40, he's 42, so he's only 8 years younger than me. And he had an older brother too, just like I had an older sister. So it makes sense that his musical knowledge is pretty vast. I mean, you can't take that away from him. I mean, like I said, sometimes he comes off like a goofball. I'm not going to say a douchebag, because he doesn't really, I guess kind of douchey, but douchey in a different kind of way. But he comes off a little weird to me. But you can't deny his musical talent for one thing, his musical knowledge. His ability to craft this whole thing together is just amazing. I mean, you can't deny that. And the thing is, so what? So what if your dude in your favorite band's a douchebag? I've met plenty of don't meet your idols. Don't meet your heroes, because a lot of times, sometimes they become a douchebag. John Byrne. So, you meet a lot of people, sometimes they come out. It's like, I would best not meet and I gotta say this thing, I wish I didn't see the Tobias videos, and I wish that I just never knew what I wanted to keep the characters involved. I don't really want to know too much, but the problem is I'm so inquisitive, and I want to know everything about everything that I gotta dive into it all, so it's my own damn fault. So yeah. this great new album called Captain Cool. No, sorry. Yeah, Ghost. What's it called again? Prequelle. Yeah, it's the album. I would buy it if you're like. I mean, obviously, if you like Ghost, you're going to buy all the albums probably, anyways. If you're coming into this new, I probably wouldn't start with this album. I would probably just get the Impera. It's the most popular one, it seems to. Just get Impera first, and then work your way back. You know, I would also say don't start out with Phantomime. You know, it's the newest one, the EP. Don't start with that one either. I would say don't start with any of the EPs. Go right for a studio album. Probably grab an Impera first, and then backtrack. This one I think would be weird. If you, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I guess it depends on the people. If you like brown and silver and gray, and you like Rats, you might like this. All right, so I've definitely gone an hour and 10 minutes, about where I like to stop. So next time you see this shirt, it'll be washed in about five sizes too small. And you'll see my hairy belly hanging out of it. All right, like I said, now that this was like my big thing, I was working up to this video, so now it's over with. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, so I'll have to come up with something. I know I've been going music heavy a lot lately. You know, bear with me. I will get back to action figures and all the other stuff. You know, although remember, I'm kind of transitioning out of that and I'm focusing more on the music right now. At some point, I will do a deep dive into art. I kind of touched on it too. It's not like art. I'm like not really tutorial either, but just like things that I can. I don't know. I'm hesitant to get into that. I know a lot of people that come to these videos are you know, followers of my stuff, and they probably want to hear stuff that more pertains to the stuff that they like that I do. I probably don't care that I, you know, collect RC cars. I probably don't care what bands I like. But if I go real deep dive into the artwork stuff, we're going to get into a weird kind of quicksand that I kind of don't want to get into because there's a lot of stuff that, I don't know, I guess it's just me being me, because like I said, I'm trying to be as me as... I'm showing you my beard dandruff on a regular basis, and I'm scratching my nuts every 5 seconds. Trust me, you're getting the real me. I'm not candy coating you on this. You can, you know, this 4K camera doesn't do anything for my skin complexion either. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to... I guess it just dictates on whatever people like. If they like the music stuff, I'm going to go heavy on the music stuff. So far, that Impera video is my top one, so maybe I'm hoping that, now watch, this one's gonna get nothing. Everybody loves the Impera video, right? It's the one with the most views, and then this one's gonna be worse than Dark Tower. Well, anyways, let me let you go. I don't want to turn this into an hour and 15 minutes when we're at an hour and 12 minutes and 41 seconds. All right, I will catch you guys later. Bye bye.